welcome back to my channel. This is Teacher Jackie, and today we are going to talk about subject-verb agreement.
Develop your language. Discover your skills. Design your future.
Today we are going to begin this series of grammar lessons that I am going to conduct this quarter. Compose clear and coherent sentences using appropriate grammatical structures. Part 1. Subject-Verb Agreement. And so before we are going to start with our lesson for today, I would like to look back and take you back to your previous lessons in grammar, especially in the lower grades. Let's review with nouns, pronouns, and verbs. Noun is a word that functions as the name of a specific object or set of objects. This could be living creatures, places, actions, qualities, states of existence, or ideas. Pronoun is a word that substitutes for a noun or a noun phrase. Verb is a word used to describe an action, state, or occurrence and forming the main part of the predicate of a sentence. Let's try if you could still remember those years when you were identifying nouns, pronouns, and verbs in sentences. Now let us try to see if you could identify the noun, pronoun, and verb in this sentence. Volunteers learn new things from the people they meet in remote areas. In this sentence, can you spot the nouns? Yes, let's try to encircle them. Can you guess? First pick, we have volunteers. Yes. Do we have more? Yes. Things. And yet, we still have more. People. And of course, we have areas. Volunteers, things, people, areas are nouns. Can you spot any pronoun in the sentence? Correct. We have they. Since they is not really mentioning a name of a person, but we know that it refers to people. Do we have a verb? Of course we have. Which do you think is the verb in the sentence? Yes, we have learn. And of course, we have one more. Meet. Learn and meet are verbs. With the activity that we have, I hope that you have realized that a sentence could not be completed without a subject and a verb. Let's start this lesson with a little game. All you have to do is to click, clap, tap, click. Let's do it again. Click, clap, tap, clap, click. Now, let's put in the thing that would make it very interesting. Let's have this. If I will say I, you say, what will you pick for I? Is it am, is, or are? I. So you have to say am. So it would go like this. I am. You are. He is. You are. Jenny is. They are. Got it? Woo! That's how we're going to play. So, I am going to do my part and you have to answer me. Let's try this one. You, she, they, he, you, I. Let's do it again. Tina, they, I, he, Jenny, the girl, you, I. There you go. I hope you have enjoyed our little play. And of course, let us continue building your vocabulary bank. Words of the day. Here I have some pictures and then I am going to tell you what this picture means. We have the first picture. Yes, this picture is a square. Everybody say square. Then we have the next picture. You see some horses there? Yes, this is a stable. Everybody say stable. Then you see a grandfather here. Yes, with all the hearts around him. This is for the word fascinate. Everybody say fascinate. Then we have the next picture. Yes, I think you see a doctor over here. This is the doctor giving some treatment. The word is treat. Everybody say treat. And we have the next picture. You have here somebody bullying a little kid. Yes, and this big boy, should I say, will be described as ruthless. Everybody say ruthless. You know what, kids? Vocabulary building is very important when we are going to learn the English language. So, if we have those words, we have to use them in our own sentences so that we will not forget them and we will internalize the meanings of those words. So, let's use them in sentences. Now let us try to use those words that we have there in sentences. Let's have the first one. The square fights for his friends. What are we talking about in this sentence? Correct. We are talking about the square. And what is the action in this sentence? Correct. The action is fights. Let's proceed with the second sentence. The horses stay in our stable. What are we talking about in this sentence? Yes, we are talking about the horses. And so, horses is an example of a noun and it works as a subject in the sentence. What is the action of this sentence? The action here is stay. And stay is our verb. Let's try to see the next sentence. Our family doctor treats my dad's arthritis. Now, if you're going to look at this closely, what are we talking about in the sentence? Correct, we are talking about the doctor, our family doctor. So, doctor here is our subject and we are going to look for the verb. What is the verb or the action in the sentence? Correct, we have treats. Doctor is our subject and treats is our verb. Let's have the next sentence. Grandpa fascinates his grandson very much. Who are we talking about in the sentence? Correct, we are talking about grandpa. And what is the verb in the sentence? Correct, that is fascinates. And let's have the last example. That ruthless boy hit little kids in the block. Who are we talking about in the sentence? Yes, we are talking about the boy, and the boy is our subject in the sentence. What is the action in the sentence? Correct, that is hit, and hit is the verb in this sentence. Learning in English is not necessarily difficult because what is really important when you are going to construct sentences is your ability to follow grammatical rules. That is the essence of subject-verb agreement. Let's remember, subject is a part of a sentence that contains the person or thing performing the action in the sentence. Subject could refer to the nouns or pronouns that you see in that sentence. Verb is the word that expresses action or a state in a sentence. Let's take this one as an example. Those girls live in the city. What are we talking about? We are talking about the girls. So, this is our subject. And we have an action word here, which is live. And that is our verb. Subject-verb agreement means that the verb should agree with the noun or pronoun subject of a sentence, both in tense and number. We have here some basic rules in subject-verb agreement. Rule number 1. Singular proper nouns, singular common nouns, and mass nouns go with the S form of a verb. For example, Mr. Garden has 3 stables of horses. A square trains horses. Cheese costs more than butter. Rule number 2. Plural proper nouns, plural common nouns, and plural mass nouns formed with quantifiers go with the base or simple form of verbs. For example, bright students fascinate him so much. The Gordons live in the countryside. 3 liters of canola oil cost around 600 pesos.
Well, you should understand this one. Kapag yung noun mayroong S sa dulo, malamang plural yun. Kunyari, yung girl, isa lang yun. Pag may S na, plural na yun, girls. But, iba naman ang sitwasyon sa verb. Kasi kapag si verb may S sa dulo, ibig sabihin nun, singular form yan. So, parang plus at minus lang yan. Kapag ka may S, ang iyong noun, or ang iyong subject ay may S, ibig sabihin nun, bawasan mo ng S ang verb mo. So kapag ka yung verb mo naman yung may S, ibig sabihin nun, yung noun mo naman dapat walang S. Isa lang sa kanila, dapat may S. But syempre, mayroon niyang exception to the rules. Kasi yung mga ibang nouns, katulad ng mathematics, yung mga subject na talagang hindi mo pwedeng bawasan ng S kasi given na sa kanilang pangalan yung S na yan, ibig sabihin nun, they will be taken as a singular noun. Yun din yung dapat nating maintindihan sa English. In every rule, there is an exemption.
Rule number 3. Use the plural form of verbs with compound subjects joined by and. For example, Dr. White and his wife treat people for free. Black Beauty, Ginger, and Merrylegs live together in one stable. And please take note, Black Beauty, Ginger, and Merrylegs are horses. Rule number 4. When the parts of a compound subject are joined by or nor, the subject closest to the verb determines agreement. For example, the boys or Nora knows the way to the farm. Nora or the boys know the way. Neither the boys nor Nora knows the way to the farm. Now, what do you think is the difference between or and nor? Well, as you can see in this example, when we say or, it means that Nora and the boys know. They simply know it. But if you're going to use neither and paired with nor, it means that they do not know. Rule number 5. Subject nouns that are derived from adjectives take plural verbs. Let us have this for example. The rich favor the ordinance. The poor need more government attention.
Let's just stick with the 5 rules that we learned today. Kasi part 1 lang din naman tayo, so we will have another part soon. So let's try to practice these 5 rules in a short exercise.
Let's practice with this one. You're going to choose the verb in the parentheses that agrees with the subject. Let's have this one. Horse owners treats their horses well. What are we going to use? Treat or treats? Correct, we are going to use treat because our subject is in plural form. That is clearly stated in rule number 2. Either grandfather or my uncles in the province own stables of horses. What are we going to use? Own or owns? Yes, our verb should be own, and that is because we have uncles as our subject, and that is in plural form, clearly stated in rule number 4. Yes, we have here, the ruthless usually dislike dislikes taking care of animals. So, what are we going to use? Dislike or dislikes? We are going to use, correct, dislike. And that is because our subject, which is actually derived from an adjective, it is rootless. So, we are going to use the plural form of the verb as stated in rule number 5. Miss Soriano teaches her students well. What are we going to use? Teach or teaches? Correct. We are going to use teaches. That is because Miss Soriano is a proper noun and it is singular in form. That is rule number 1. Let's have the last example. Rita and Mary writes in cursive well. What do you think is the answer? We are going to underline write. That is because Rita and Mary is joined by and so this is a compound subject and that is going to take plural form of the verb as stated in rule number 3.
Now, before we proceed to the evaluation part, which is actually our quiz for today, I want you to review first the 5 rules that we have discussed today. If you have familiarized those 5 rules that we discussed today, then take this short quiz that I am giving you now.
Okay, so we are going to do it now on your own. Choose the verb in the parentheses that agrees with the subject and do it on your worksheet. Number 1, our music teacher teaches us classical music. Number 2, the pupils loves the songs they learn in class. Number 3, Dave and Ava sings the chorus very well. 4, neither Jane nor Daisy plays the piano. 5, either Mr. Park or the kids goes to the music room every Saturday. 6, the drivers arrives at 4 every afternoon. 7, the girl stands 6 feet tall. 8, the rich usually supports well-mannered politicians. 9, Gary, Jerry, and Tony lives in an expensive apartment. And number 10, children studies at home during a pandemic.
Before we are going to end up our discussion for today, I would like you to do something more later.
Let's have some more. Use the given pair of subject and verb in a sentence. Be sure to observe the subject-verb agreement. For example, I am going to give you Judith and love. I am going to use it in a sentence, so it would be like this. Judith loves to paint on the wall. So it's now your turn. You have to do 5 sentences.
That's it for today, guys. I hope that you have learned something from me. See you on our next lesson. This is Teacher Jackie saying bye-bye.